Hello, Andre. This is Jack Crane with my Sprint 4 submission for engine. Um, I was for this sprint. I was only able to get the alarmables, the inputable and key event manager stuff, and every attorney except the scene and scene manager attorney completed. The key event stuff took a lot, most of yesterday and all of today to get working. So hopefully I'll be able to finish the rest over the weekend, but I'll show you what I have so far. Um, so for my multiple alarms, if I go to alarmable, um, everything has been updated to take in the alarm ID. Because for multiple alarms, I have the 3 virtual voids, and in my alarmable manager, I have my alarm enum, and I'll also take in the alarm ID when I register. What else? What else? In my alarmable.cpp in the constructor, I set. I use this as well and tested to make sure it worked. I actually tested this time to make sure it works, and it does. And you said since it's internal and the user shouldn't touch it, I should be okay. But if I need to change it, I have the other code right here. And here's my trigger alarm. I'm still using the switch statement, unfortunately, but I did not have time to even attempt to fix that, let alone finish the sprint. And then I'll show you inside the ship, I submit my alarm registrations, and each of my virtual alarm functions does some things, but when I test the key press events, I'll get into all this later. So for each of my attorneys, I only have the friend. I have the friend class for the alarm to the manager, as well as the registration commands, and that's the same for the drawable and the updatable. And the inputable attorney, I have the friend class as single key event manager only, and the input and both input registration commands. And then in each of the actual alarmable classes, I only have the attorney as a friend, or for each of the game object classes, I mean. I only have the respective attorney as a friend class. Inputable is the only friend class, and updatable is the updatable attorney is the only friend class. I do believe I fixed all my destructors, so I'll show that at the end. I put virtual destructors for everything. I hope. If I missed something, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure I got everything. And we'll go to sorry, here we go. For the keyboard event manager, everything you wanted to show. So only the registered keys are tested. Each key is only tested once. So in my single key event manager, in my process key events, I only check the get key state for a given key once per frame. If there are multiple objects that test the same key, instead of testing that key twice per frame, I would still only test it once and then relay that information to both inputable objects. So for each of these 4 loops, I only call key pressed on the registered keys in the map, and inside my keyboard event manager, my process key events, only calling the process key event on single key managers in the map, and single key managers only get created if the input event type is different. No, if the single key event manager pointer is different. So if the single key, if the key is not, if the key is already in the map, then all I do is change the event manager pointer, and or I set the single key event manager pointer to the keys pointer, and if otherwise, I create a new key altogether and insert it into the map. If it's already in the map, yeah, I only change the second parameter. I think that covers it. Duplicate re and deregistration. So inside my single key event, no, inside my inputable.cpp, sorry. For submitting, I have three maps. I have a registration state map, a registration command map, and a deregistration command map. So for the uh, registration state maps, this helps to make sure there's no duplicate registration states. If the iterator finds the key pair already in the map, then instead of creating a new inserting the pair into the map, all I do is change the registration state of the pair that's already in there, and that way I don't create double. If it's not in the map, then I insert it. I insert the whole thing. For my submitting registration command, it's very similar. If the key pair is already in the map, then I change the registration command only. If the key pair is not in the map, then I create a new registration command and insert the key pair into the map. For deregistration, and at the end I submit the command. For deregistration, it's similar. For the registration state map, I do the same thing as before. If it's already in the map, then I just change the state. If not, then I fail because it was never registered, and I can't deregister something that's not in the map, so I need to fail. Yeah, if it's not in the map, then there's nothing I can do with it, so I need to break and tell the user. For submitting the command, it's exactly the same as submitting the registration command. If it's in the map, then I just change the command. Yeah, I just change the input deregistration command and not the key. If the pair is not already in the map, then I create a new registration command and insert the key pair with that registration command, and then I submit the command at the end. Show where in the overall game loop the key events are processed. So inside scene, inside update, the keyboard event manager calls process key events. And if I go to that, I call the process key events for all the single key managers that are inside the single key manager map. And in this process key events, I do what I showed before, which is this check here. And this is only called once per frame, and then processes each key only once. And then demonstrate the system can correctly handle multiple re and deregistration events at a time. So if I go to my ship.cpp, here I've got the 3 submit alarm registrations and the 4 submit key registrations, but I have 1 key press and 1 key release for the O key. So in my alarmables, I do a resubmit for each of my alarms. So it just resets the time to a different amount of time, and then shows the game time and shows the alarm active. For my key press events, for my key T, it just has a simple T pressed. For key 0, I have a 0 press message, and then a submit key deregistration for key T. So if I press this, I should no longer be able to press key T and get that message. Inside access, I do have an access T press event, which will show that only the ship's T-press event will be deregistered. And for key 2, I submit alarm deregistration for my second alarm. So after pressing this, my alarm 2 will no longer go off, and the key 0 key press will no longer happen. So after pressing this, I will no longer see the key press, the O press message. I should only see the O release message. And on key 3, I deregister my alarm 1, so that should no longer work, and my key 0 should no longer say release. So I'll just go over all this. So it should be alarm 0, alarm 1, and then alarm 2. And if I press T, I get T pressed and access T pressed, and then I should get 1, alarm 0, and then alarm 2. And if I press O, I should get O pressed, O released. If I press T, I only get the access T pressed. And if I press 2 pressed, and alarm 2 should no longer go off. And if I press O, only O release goes off. And if I press 3, alarm 1 should no longer go off. Alarm 0 should continue to go off. There it is. And if I press O, nothing happens. So there is that. And if I show this, all my destructors should be called in order now, including all the command base classes as well as all the inputable base classes and drawable and other things of that nature. And all of this stuff is virtual, and if you don't believe me, I will just go to that real quick. So starting with command base, I've got my virtual destructor with a debug message, virtual destructor with the debug message, and that will be the same for all of these. Virtual, 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 virtual. These don't have, and yeah, virtual destructors for all of this. Oh, virtual, everything is virtual, and you can check the rest because I'm fairly certain I'm over time, so thank you.